Hello there everyone, and welcome to Not Everyone Is Here. And with last episode, we covered, Sega franchises that aren't in Smash. But in this one, we're talking about a franchise that is in Smash, that being obviously Final Fantasy. I've done something similar before with Persona, and the same case is here. But you see, with Persona, while yes, Persona 1 and 2 are rarely, if anything, mentioned outside of anniversaries, at the very least it's been very consistent with how Atlus chooses to represent those games, and that is by very little. I mean, in all honesty, it's kind of a miracle that Joker ended up having a Persona 1 color scheme, if anything. So here we have Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII is the only game represented. Well, yes, there are summons, and there is the Chocobo, and, Moogle, and it's just Final Fantasy VII. Yes, they do have things that show up in other Final Fantasy games, but 7 is the only thing really represented by characters, stages, and of course music, outside of the victory theme. And in the case of Final Fantasy, I was always interested as to why it's represented the way it was. I mean, before Sephiroth, we only ever had Cloud, a stage, 2 music tracks, and whatever that game's collectible was, but only for Cloud, no one else. Yeah, we had the Chocobo Me outfit, but that costume didn't return alongside with Gino until Sephiroth showed up, bringing along with him Tifa, Barret, and Aerith costumes as well. And not even with their hair, just their outfits, which is really strange. Another thing too is that Square just seems to have weird deals with Nintendo. If you watch my previous videos, while I did say that I thought Gino would be the fighter, I did also say that we were definitely getting a Square Enix character. And why? Because it just seems like they have really weird deals. At least that's how I interpret it. I mean, think about it. In Smash 4, the only costume packs to ever have anything less than, like, say, 5 was Cloud, where he only came with Chocobo and Chino. No other Mii costumes were released alongside him. And then we have the hero from Dragon Quest, who only had Dragon Quest, well, Mii outfits. So, in my mind, I'm just like, we're definitely getting another Square Enix character. And I was honestly shocked, with how Sephiroth was represented. It felt like there was a lot more love put in, and I've always wondered why. How protective is Square of their franchises, I wonder, for them to not really represent anything, post or before 7. Now, based on an interview with Sakurai, there could be the fact that it was really Sakurai's decision to try to get Cloud in Smash, because if I remember correctly, Nomura did suggest, more recent or newer characters at the time, but Sakurai declined, thinking that Cloud was the best option, which of course he was. So it makes you think, why doesn't Square allow for more Final Fantasy representation? I mean, we already have, say, Octopath and Trials of Mana represented as spirits, so why can't we get any of the other Final Fantasy, protags as spirits, or any of the big bad bosses or anything like that? Just makes you wonder. Now, for me, I'm just sort of a guy that likes a lot of older games for whatever reason. As a matter of fact, for Final Fantasy, 7 wasn't my first game. Well, it was the one I knew about the first, because haha Cloud on Google Images. I didn't play a Final Fantasy game, and it wasn't 7. I don't remember which one, but I do remember playing one. And so for me, I would just love to see more representation of classic Final Fantasy. Of course, there can be, representation of the newer games, post 7, you obviously have 8, 9, 10, 10-2, etc. Tidus, and then there's Squall. Of course, we can have Noctis as well as spirits, something to that effect. But it's always been interesting to me on how Square represents their franchises. Maybe that's just me, but that's how I see it. It probably just means that Square just strong arms Nintendo on how they allow Nintendo to have their own content, because I can't imagine Nintendo going back to Square Enix for a future Smash game unless Sakurai just really wants to keep on trying to bring back every fighter, which honestly, after the DLC, I don't know if that's possible anymore, at least in the base game. After Ehrgei's God Bless the Ring, it just seems like Square is just very nitpicky on what gets represented for the Final Fantasy series. I mean, Cloud was supposed to be in Soul Calibur 2, that is factual, and so it really makes you think, I mean, I guess it's because Square sees Sakurai as the best person to represent their own characters, but still, it's just so strange. Then again, maybe, who knows, we might see more love of other Square Enix franchises in future Smash games or in this one, because they have been seemingly more lenient with what, you know, Smash can have in terms of content, you know, from their IPs. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and have an amazing rest of your day. Peace.